My name is Tara, and I hope you're having a terrific day, and if you are not, this video is about to make your day just a little bit better. Today, we are going to be talking about the first polearm user to be released in Genshin Impact, Xiangling. Xiangling was one of my first max constellation characters, and thus I've spent a lot of time and resources investing into her. She is honestly such a versatile character, able to fulfill multiple different roles on a team depending on how you choose to build her. So now, let me share with you some of Xiangling's most optimal builds. Xiangling is a pyro polearm character who provides some of the highest damage output alongside possessing role diversity. She shines in both a DPS supportive pyro damage role or as your team's main physical damage carry depending on the build. Her elemental skill, Buh Bye Attack, summons a panda who continuously breathes fire at enemies dealing AoE pyro damage. Her elemental burst, Pyronado, will whirl a spinning spear around your characters which deals pyro damage to all enemies in its path. The Pyronator will also move alongside your characters throughout its duration. Xiangling's power cannot be easily capsulized, as there are many builds she can utilize and roles she can fill within your team compositions. So since there are multiple ways to build Xiangling, we're going to be breaking up each section of this build guide into the support or the main carry category. So let's first talk about some recommended weapons for support Xiangling. Deathmatch is a 4-star polearm which was given as an option for the Battle Pass weapon bounty. It has a crit rate secondary stat and an effect which increases attack and defense by 16% when more than 2 enemies are nearby, or it will increase attack by 24% when there are less than 2 enemies nearby. This weapon is just incredible on Xiangling support due to that crit rate secondary stat massively increasing her damage output. Deathmatch is the weapon that I am currently using, and I'm finding massive success with using it on Xiangling. The next support Xiangling recommended weapon we have is called Dragon's Bane, and Dragon's Bane is a 4-star polearm which can be used in place of Deathmatch for Xiangling. Dragon's Bane has an elemental mastery secondary stat and an effect which increases damage against enemies affected by Hydro or Pyro by up to 36%. Elemental Mastery is honestly kind of a pretty lackluster secondary stat, except for on characters like Sucrose, for example, but where this weapon shine is not in its secondary stat, but in its effect. As long as you are pairing Xiangling with someone who can aid in keeping enemies affected by Hydro, this weapon will be superb for vaporized damage reactions and that increase in damage done through its effect. Now for the recommended weapon that pretty much everyone who's been playing Genshin Impact has probably already heard of, Crescent Pike. Crescent Pike is what you're going to want to be using on main physical damage carry Xiangling. It is a craftable 4-star polearm which is one of the best weapons in the entire game. Crescent Pike possesses a physical damage bonus secondary stat and an effect which causes absorbed energy orbs or particles to cause normal and charge attacks to deal an additional up to 40% attack damage proc for 5 seconds. Xiangling is a character who has a consistent flow of energy orbs and particles from Goba, which makes this effect have almost a 100% uptime. In essence, Crescent Pike more than doubles Xiangling's physical damage output, as when looking at her normal attack sequence, she attacks twice on her 3rd hit and 4 times on her 4th hit. In addition, Xiangling's attacks have a naturally low attack ratio, but Crescent Pike's effect will still net up to 40% attack damage procs per attack regardless. To make matters even more insane, Xiangling's second constellation, Oil Meets Fire, will cause the last attack of her normal attack sequence to apply an implode status. This implode status will last for 2 seconds, then explode, dealing 75% of Xiangling's attack as AoE pyro damage. Xiangling's support almost never does normal attacking, but conversely, when building her as a main damage carry, this second constellation will provide some accessory pyro damage. So now that we just finished talking about some recommended weapons for Xiangling, let's talk about some recommended artifact sets for her as a support first. When it comes to Xiangling, I believe the quickest set combination to acquire is that of the 2-piece Crimson Witch and 2-piece Berserker. Together, they will increase her pyro damage by 15% and crit rate by 12%. This is a great set combination on Xiangling, as all of her damage will be pyro damage when she is used as a support. But there is a major downside in that Berserker pieces can only go up to 4 stars. So if you are willing to push through and get all of the ideal 5-star artifact pieces, the best set on Xiangling support would be that of Crimson Witch. The 4 4-piece Crimson Witch artifact set will increase overloaded and burning damage by 40%, increase vaporize and melt damage by 15%, and using a elemental skill will increase 2 set effects by 50% for 10 seconds, stacking 3 times. The reason I recommended a split set before is getting a full 5-star artifact set with ideal main stat pieces will take an astronomical amount of time and resources. The Crimson Witch set can be farmed starting at adventure rank 30 from artifact domain farming, but I do recommend waiting until adventure rank 40 to farm this set. Now, if you are very early on in the game, I do recommend using the 4-piece instructor set. This set will increase elemental mastery by 80 and increase all party members' elemental mastery by an additional 120 when an elemental reaction occurs. The tooltip in game for this specific set is incorrect and it will activate on an elemental reaction. The instructor set can be farmed from world and weekly bosses. Now, when it comes to main damage carry Xiangling, I'm going to recommend 2-piece Bloodstained Chivalry and 2-piece Berserker as her set. I recommend this set combination because I believe physical damage is the best way to utilize Crescent Pike. Bloodstained Chivalry 2-piece will provide a massive 25% increase in physical damage bonus, and like I mentioned before, the 2-piece Berserker set will give 12% crit rate. Bloodstained Chivalry can be farmed starting at adventure rank 35 from artifact domain farming. Now, for those who are a bit too early in the game who are going to be going after main damage dealing Xiangling, using the 2-piece Berserker and any 2-piece artifact set that provides plus 18% attack is the way to go. There are plenty of artifact sets that you will obtain that have plus 18% attack throughout your progression within Genshin Impact. So now let's talk about some recommended artifact slot main stats. For the sand slot, you're going to want to be going for energy recharge on support Xiangling. Xiangling has an energy cost of 80, which makes it take an absurdly long time to charge. As none of the weapons I have included have any form of energy recharge, it is almost necessary to fill in this artifact slot with the energy charge main stat. Pyronado just provides a massive amount of damage, and having it up sooner just will provide that much earlier of a damage spike. If you're using a main physical damage carry Xiangling though, you're going to want to be going for attack in the sand slot instead of energy recharge, since most of your damage will be coming from normal attack damage and not through your elemental skills or elemental burst. Now, for the goblet slot on support Xiangling, you're going to want to aim for pyro damage bonus. All of support Xiangling's damage comes from pyro damage, which makes pyro damage bonus the only viable option for this slot. Conversely, physical damage bonus will be the option you want to go for on your main carry Xiangling. Lastly, for the circlet slot, there's not going to be much variance between support Xiangling and main carry Xiangling. Both of them are going to want crit rate or crit damage on the circlet slot. Just trying to utilize the circlet slot for crit rate or crit damage is just the way to go for damage orientated characters. Just be sure to choose the one that will net the most damage over time, depending on how much of the stat you have of each. As you can see, Xiangling is a force to be reckoned with. She has 2 completely different build options wherein the resulting role will be transformed. I think Xiangling as a character is super valuable because she is able to easily slot into so many different team compositions. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you did end up enjoying Xiangling's character building guide, and let me know down in the comments your thoughts about Xiangling. You can also head over to my Discord for additional game help or check me out sometime on Twitch. Links found in the description. Bye bye now.